Hello and welcome to another edition of our Town Administrator Update, our chance to talk with Burlington Town Administrator Paul Sagarino about all the different activities, programs, and news happening here in Burlington. Paul, thanks once again for coming in.
Thank you, Rich. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And I just wanted to start off with, we've got some big projects going on, the MWRA connection, the PFAS filter, and the highway building. So how are things sort of moving along?
I'm happy to report, Rich, that all of those projects are moving on according to schedule and on budget. So we consider ourselves very fortunate. The second phase 2 of the Public Works facility has come a long way. I'm sure if anybody's driven by there, it looks amazing from the outside. They're really coming along quickly, and we're really excited about that project. So they're telling us possibly in September, but more realistically, we're trying to be more optimistic and hopefully, sometime after September. But we're looking for an opening in the fall, and we're really excited to get that operational. It's been a long time coming, and it's going to be a great benefit to the department and to the employees that work very hard out there in our Public Works department. PFAS project, as you know, we had a date, anticipated date of completion in December, at least for the filtration part of it. We may still have some construction after that date, but hopefully the PFAS filter will be in place by December. That's still on target as our goal. And MWRA project, unfortunately, is disrupting the town of Lexington at this point. But I know you did a segment on it recently.
Yeah, I was over there.
They're moving along quite nicely over there, and we're very grateful to all the assistance we've received from the town of Lexington in this initiative. Because when you put a water line, a large water line through another community, it must be a difficult sell to their residents that this is a Burlington water pipe that's being so disruptive over there. But we're very grateful to all the assistance we've received from the town of Lexington.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a big project. You don't really get the scope until you actually see it in person. You're like, oh, yeah. It's a heck of a hole.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for us. It will bring some benefits to the town of Lexington also. But as you know, we've been talking about water here and water use and water bans for so long that that's going to be a real savior to the town, and just in terms of being able to provide a reliable source of clean water for our residents and businesses.
Right. Excellent. Well, good to hear that they're all kind of moving along as well as they are. Wanted to talk about so there's going to be a new person in on your floor near your office. A new town accountant. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing her name right. Julie De Los Reyes.
Yeah, Julie. I think it's Julie. Yep.
Just talk about a little bit about her, and sort of we had a town accountant and assistant town administrator was one position, and what was this? Why was it decided to split them up?
Sure. Several years ago, we had the state do a review of our financial offices and structure, and they came back with several recommendations within that. And over the course of time, as you know, we just can't make whole-scale changes to personnel or adding employees onto the payroll. But over the course of time, we wanted to resolve those recommendations that the state made so that we could have a fully functional system in the way we want. And the final recommendation, I'm happy to say, was for the town to separate the town accountant's position out from the assistant town administrator's job. For those that don't know, in many communities, they have a separate assistant town administrator, finance director, and town accountant. In Burlington, we've had that covered by one person for many years, and I was in that position prior to taking this job, and it's currently held by John Denizio. And one of the recommendations from the state was that we separate out the town accountant's position, so John will still hold the assistant town administrator position as well as functionally be the finance director. And we all know what a great job he does, and he made holding the 3 jobs look easy, but we definitely feel that this is going to be a great enhancement to our structure. We were very fortunate to get some very qualified candidates apply for the town accountant's job, and the search committee, and we all agreed that Julie was the best candidate to bring in, and she very gratefully came in, accepted the position, and we're looking forward to her to begin in early August. She comes to us from the town of Natick as the Assistant Finance Director. She has a great set of skills, and with her handling the accounting aspects of the town, it'll free up John's time to do more administrator and big picture financial type duties.
Oh, okay, excellent. Speaking of financial things, you mentioned at the select board meeting on Monday that the town has been sort of in communication with Congressman Seth Moulton's office about possible grants.
Yes, over the past several years, Congressman Moulton's office, we've worked really hard to strengthen our relationship with him. We're at the far western end of his district.
Yep.
They're sort of based up in Salem. And, sometimes it feels as though, we're not in the inner workings of the district. So we've worked really hard with his staff, and they've been wonderful checking in on us on a regular basis. Norman Abbott is the gentleman's name that we work with. And through those relationships, we were able to submit for some direct federal funding through a process called the Community Project Funding Program through Seth Moulton's office. And basically, we're in competition with other organizations and communities within his district for projects. And we submitted for $1 million to assist with our PFAS project at the Mill Pond. Okay. And we're very grateful through the selection process that they selected our project to move on and become part of the federal budget. So it made it through the first round of the gauntlet. Okay. And again, we don't deal directly with the federal government. Most of the federal money comes through the state. So this is a sort of a new thing for us, learning how the federal government part of it works and at what point it'll become official. But it did meet a very rigorous test and being advanced out of Seth's district, and it was in competition with a lot of other great initiatives. So we're very grateful to his office, both for their efforts in working with the town of Burlington. And we're very hopeful that it will make it through to the end, and we'll have $1 million worth of relief to our taxpayers from that PFAS filtration project.
Excellent. Yeah, all right. Get into now federal Congress.
Yeah, the state budget's tricky enough, but now we're trying to figure out how the feds do it. And again, we don't work directly with the feds on money very often. So
right. So there is a story where I guess we wanted to have a little clarification on. The Boston Globe reported, and then it was picked up by at least an outlet or two here locally, that the Hudson Bay Company, the owner of the Lord Taylor, is now closed or moved to online only, was looking to convert their real estate space in malls to lab space. And the Globe story kind of made it sound like this was something that was sort of already said and done and ready to, be put into place by like the end of next year. But you're saying that's not the case.
Yes. First of all, I will say that, as an administration, we're thrilled to hear that Lord Taylor is ready to, reinvent the future of their property here in Burlington. We're really excited about that. As a administration and our elected officials, we're a little bit surprised at the Globe newspaper article. As you mentioned, that seems to have a life of its own and get reprinted in a lot of other areas. I think, as you mentioned, it did make it sound like it was a done deal, and I think that's caused some of our residents some angst. They've been calling their local elected officials, and the bottom line is the Burlington Mall property, hazardous materials are not allowed currently under our zoning. So right. Any traditional scientific lab use that you or I or any other layman may think of produces some minimal or type of hazardous materials either during the processing or in the end result. So as of now, a typical lab use as described for life science is unlikely given the current zoning. There is a process in place. It's a very high threshold. That's a 2/3 vote at town meeting to change the zoning. From what I could see, the earliest possible town meeting that this could appear possibly would be in January, but we haven't even received a formal proposal from Lord Taylor yet.
Yeah.
So our elected officials are all over it. Our Board of Health, our Planning Board, they're on alert, and we're reaching out to Lord and Taylor to see if we can get a better understanding of their plans. But I just want to let the residents know that they'll have plenty of opportunity at future public meetings. They'll have plenty of opportunity to let their opinion known to their town meeting members, as this will require a zoning change. And as you know from covering the town all these years, a 2/3 threshold at town meeting is a pretty significant threshold in order for this to be changed to a lab use. So the community will have plenty of time to be heard on this. Yeah. And it is not a done deal. And again, we are excited to hear that they're looking to move forward with doing something with their property. It's a great piece of property. It'll be a great enhancement to the mall. But I just want to let the residents know that lab use is currently not allowed there due to the fact of hazardous materials. And there's a significant process that would have to take place for that to happen. And their elected officials are on alert and they're working on it, and they're ready to respond to keep the community, to make sure that labs are done properly here in the community. We've done a great job attracting life science companies. We want to continue that trend, but there may or may not be locations where a lab may be appropriate, and our elected officials will determine that based upon what they hear from our residents.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is quite a process to get a zoning change done. So at the Monday night's meeting, it was also, the select board had a hearing for 2 businesses. We don't need to go into which ones at this point. It's on our website if people want to look it up. But liquor license violations after a police sting. And it was, I guess, the first time for each of them, so they received a 1-day suspension. Just talk about, from your point of view, the importance of police sort of having these things and the board, recognizing the severity of, when somebody, does serve an underage person.
Sure. The town of Burlington takes a liquor license and the serving of alcohol very seriously. We consider it a privilege. If somebody is going to have a business that serves alcohol in this community, they're going to run that according to the rules of the law. There are no exceptions on that. As we know, serving to underage patrons is not something we want having in town. And our police department is very active in conducting stings where they send minors in to check on the establishments, to make sure that they're properly ID'd, etc. So the long and the short of it is we have a wonderful restaurant community. We have great liquor stores. And by and large, violations of the policy are very few and far between. But the residents should know that we take the serving of alcohol very seriously, and we consider it a privilege to have a liquor license here in Burlington, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that people are following the rules, and hopefully the residents, take comfort in that. And unfortunately, we had a couple of great businesses that, slipped up on this last round. Their service of alcohol will be suspended as per the town's policy for 1 day, so it kind of hits them in the pocket. They'll be able to be open but not serve alcohol. And again, we've had sporadic violations of the policy over the years, and I think our police department does a great job of managing the compliance aspects of alcohol, and I just want to let everyone know we do take it very seriously. So we want alcohol to be served in a safe manner within the community. It's obviously, the restaurants are a huge part of our community, and we just want to make sure everything's done according to the letter of the law.
All right. Well, speaking of serving alcohol safely and responsibly, there will be a return of the beer gardens to the town center pocket park. I know they had one last year to sort of, announce the park and get people interested, and I think like 800 people showed up over the course of the day. Just talk about, the plans for that, and a little bit about like the reason to have the pocket park there.
Sure. Last year's event, as you mentioned, was a huge success. It was very popular amongst our residents. It was very well attended. But what we're trying to do with the pocket park is try to reimagine different spaces within the town, and how do we enliven them? How do we program them to attract, residents to different areas? And in our work in the town center pocket park, we're trying to open up residents' eyes to the type of businesses we have in our center. We have so many great businesses down there, and many residents, because we have such of a large retail community within the town, may not know everything that we have down in the town center. So the goals of placemaking are to try to bring residents to different spaces that they may have not have been to. And in this case, we're hopeful that the resulting overflow will have a positive impact on the small business owners in our town center. And again, the last year's event was extremely successful. I actually missed it. I was sick at that time. You know, based upon feedback from the small businesses in the town center community, they suggested that it was such a great success, and maybe, you know, maybe we could try something different. So it's a trial and error process. This upcoming beer gardens, they decided to do them on Thursday afternoons, 4 of them in September. So we'll try it out. We'll see how well attended it is. We'll see, you know, what type of positive impacts it may have had on the businesses in the area. And again, if it works, we'll keep it on the list as something that worked. And if not, we'll try something different the next time. That's the idea behind placemaking, is to try to come up with different ideas and programming to bring residents to different areas of the town and hopefully have a positive spillover effect, in this case, to the small businesses in the town center.
Excellent. All right, well, I think we hit on everything that we wanted to talk about, and I appreciate you coming in once again, and we will see you next month.
I appreciate it, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.